You've been lied to about the law of attraction. It's not just about wishing for things and waiting. Real success demands way more than that. And if you've ever tried to manifest something but got nothing, there's a reason. Most people think the law of attraction is magic. Close your eyes, imagine a sports car, and boom, it appears. But that's not how it works. The real secret? It's not about what you want, it's about what you become. And today we're breaking down the exact steps to make it work. No fluff, no fake promises. Your thoughts are just the starting point. You've probably heard it a million times. Think positive and good things will come. But here's the truth. Positive thinking alone is like having a map to a treasure, but never leaving your house. It's useless unless you move. See, your mind is powerful. Every single thing you see around you, every building, every business, every invention started as a thought in someone's head. But here's where most people fail. They get stuck in the thinking phase. They imagine success, they daydream about it, but they never take the first step. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Let me break it down. Thoughts are like seed. You can have the best seed in the world, but if you don't plant it, water it, and take care of it, it'll just sit there and rot. Success works the same way. You can't just want something, you have to do something about it. Think about it. If you want to build a business, you can't just visualize it and wait for customers to show up. You have to make a plan, reach out to people, create something valuable. If you want to get in shape, you can't just imagine yourself with a six-pack. You have to actually go to the gym, eat right, and push yourself. The real secret? Your thoughts set the direction, but action is the fuel. Without it, you're just a car with a full tank going nowhere. And here's the thing, action doesn't have to be perfect. Most people wait for the right time, the perfect plan, the guaranteed success. But that's a trap. The right time doesn't exist. The perfect plan is a myth. The most successful people in the world didn't wait for everything to line up. They started before they were ready. They made mistakes, adjusted, and kept going. That's the difference between dreaming and achieving. One is passive, the other is relentless. So ask yourself right now, what's one thing you've been thinking about but haven't acted on? What's stopping you? Fear, doubt, laziness, whatever it is, recognize it, then move anyway. Because the moment you take action, your thoughts stop being fantasies and start becoming reality. And here's something else most people don't talk about. Action changes your thinking. When you start moving, new ideas come. Opportunities appear. You see things you couldn't see before. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. You don't know what's in there until you take the first step. So don't just sit there waiting for motivation. Motivation comes after action, not before. You don't need to feel pumped up to start. You just need to start. The energy, the excitement, the momentum, that comes later. Remember, every big success story starts with a single step. Not a perfect one, not a fearless one, just a step, and then another, and another, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come. Desire alone won't cut it. You need a burning obsession. Let's talk about desire, not the weak, wishy-washy kind, not the it'd be nice if I had that kind. I'm talking about the kind of desire that keeps you up at night, the kind that makes everything else feel small in comparison. Most people want success, but wanting isn't enough. Wanting is lukewarm. It's safe. It's the kind of feeling that fades when things get hard. And guess what? Things always get hard. Real success, the kind that changes your life, comes from obsession, not the unhealthy kind, but the kind where you can't not think about your goal, where it's the first thing on your mind when you wake up and the last thing before you sleep, where every decision you make is filtered through one question: does this get me closer? That's the energy that pulls opportunities toward you. Not luck, not chance, obsession. Think about the people who've achieved incredible things. They weren't just casually interested, they were all in. They sacrificed, they took risks, they ignored the doubters, because their desire wasn't just a preference, it was a necessity. Here's the hard truth. If you can walk away from your goal easily, it wasn't really your goal. It was just a nice idea. And nice ideas don't change lives. So how do you turn a weak wish into a burning obsession? First, get brutally honest with yourself. Do you really want this, or do you just like the idea of it? Because there's a difference. Second, connect it to something deeper. Money alone isn't enough. Fame isn't enough. There has to be a why that hits you in the gut. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's proving someone wrong. Maybe it's leaving a legacy. Whatever it is, it has to matter. Third, feed it daily. Obsession isn't a one-time thing. It's a fire you have to keep burning. Read about your goal, talk about it, visualize it, surround yourself with people who push you toward it. And finally, act like it's already yours. Not in a delusional way, but in a way that shapes your decisions. If you were already successful, how would you carry yourself? What choices would you make? Start doing those things now. Because here's the secret. The universe rewards those who refuse to settle. Not the ones who kinda sorta want something, the ones who need it. So ask yourself, what's the one thing you're truly obsessed with? And if the answer is nothing, maybe that's why nothing's changing. Clarity is your secret weapon. Most people walk through life with foggy, half-formed dreams. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. But what does that even mean? If you can't define it, you can't achieve it. Vague goals create vague results. And that's why so many people stay stuck. They're aiming at nothing, so they hit nothing. Let me ask you something. If you got in your car right now and just started driving with no destination in mind, where would you end up? Nowhere important. Maybe you'd see some nice scenery, but you wouldn't arrive anywhere meaningful. That's exactly how most people live their lives. Drifting, hoping, but never really getting where they want to go. Here's why this works. Your brain is a goal-seeking machine. When you give it a clear target, it starts finding ways to hit it. Think about when you decide to buy a certain car, suddenly you start seeing that car everywhere. It's not that there are more of them on the road, it's that your brain is now tuned in to notice them. The same thing happens with your goals. When you define exactly what you want, your mind starts spotting opportunities you would have missed before. But it's not enough to just think about it. You have to write it down. There's something powerful about putting pen to paper. It takes your goal out of your imagination and makes it real. And then, read it every day. Visualize it. See yourself already there. Feel what it's like to have achieved it. The more real it feels in your mind, the faster your brain will work to make it real in your life. Now here's where most people mess up. They set a goal, get excited for a week or two, and then forget about it. Life gets busy. Distractions come up, and before they know it, they're back to drifting. Don't let that happen. Clarity isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. You have to keep your goal front and center, reminding yourself of it constantly. One of the best ways to do this, create a vision, not just words on paper, but images. Pictures of what you want. A vision board, screensavers on your phone, sticky notes on your mirror, whatever works. Surround yourself with reminders of where you're going. Because when you do that, something incredible happens. Your subconscious mind starts working on it even when you're not. And here's the most important part. Clarity eliminates hesitation. When you know exactly what you want, decisions become easy. Should you take that job? Does it move you toward your goal? Should you spend money on that? Does it help or hurt your vision? When you're clear, you don't waste time on things that don't matter. So right now, ask yourself, what do I really want? Not in some vague general sense. Exactly. Specifically. Write it down. Make it so clear that there's no room for doubt. Because once you do that, you've already taken the first and most important step toward making it happen. Your circle controls your success. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But most people don't really believe it. They think they're the exception. They think they can hang out with negative, lazy people and still be positive and driven. But that's not how it works. Here's the truth. Energy is contagious. Attitudes rub off. If you're around people who complain all the time, guess what? You'll start complaining more. If you're around people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses. And if you're around people who settle, you'll start settling too. Think about it. Have you ever been in a really good mood, then spent time with someone who was miserable and suddenly you felt drained? That's not a coincidence. That's how influence works. Now flip it. Have you ever been around someone who was so motivated, so passionate, that you left feeling inspired? That's the power of your environment. Most people don't realize how much their circle shapes them. They think success is all about willpower, about pushing through no matter what. But willpower is weak compared to environment. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, doubt, and laziness, it's going to take a massive amount of effort just to stay motivated. And eventually, most people give in. But if you surround yourself with people who are hungry, who push themselves, who refuse to settle, that energy lifts you. You start rising to their level. You don't have to fight against negativity because you're in an environment that supports your growth. Now here's the hard part. Sometimes the people holding you back are the people closest to you. Family. old friends, coworkers, and that makes it tough. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. You don't want to seem like you're too good for them. But here's the thing. You don't have to cut people out completely. You just have to be aware of their influence and limit your exposure to negativity. At the same time, you have to start adding new people to your circle. Seek out those who are where you want to be. Join groups, attend events, connect with people who challenge you. Because when you're around people who are ahead of you, two things happen. First, you see what's possible. Second, you start adopting their habits and mindset without even realizing it. And here's something most people don't talk about. Your circle doesn't just affect your mindset, it affects your opportunities. The right people open doors you didn't even know existed. They introduce you to ideas, resources, and connections that can change everything. Success is rarely a solo journey. The fastest way to level up is to surround yourself with those who are already there. So take a hard look at your inner circle. Are they lifting you up or holding you down? Are they making you better or keeping you small? Because if you want to change your life, sometimes the first step isn't changing yourself, it's changing who you surround yourself with. And if you don't like what you see, start making shifts. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because at the end of the day, your environment shapes your future, whether you realize it or not. Action is the missing ingredient most people skip. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Your dreams don't care about you. That vision board collecting dust, those late night ideas you keep scribbling in your notebook, the universe isn't impressed. What gets rewarded in this world isn't what you think about doing, it's what you actually do. There's this dangerous myth floating around that if you just visualize hard enough, if you just believe strongly enough, success will magically appear at your doorstep. That's complete nonsense. Manifestation isn't some mystical force, it's physics. Objects in motion stay in motion. Objects at rest, well, they stay exactly where they are. Think about the last time something great happened in your life. Did it come because you sat around hoping, or did it come because you took action? Maybe scared, maybe uncertain, but you moved forward anyway. Every single person who's ever achieved anything worthwhile understands this fundamental truth. Thinking builds the blueprint, but action builds the house. Here's what most people get wrong. They wait for the perfect moment. They think I'll start my business when I have more money, or I'll ask for that promotion when I feel more confident. Let me save you years of frustration. That perfect moment doesn't exist. The conditions will never be just right. The stars will never align perfectly. Successful people don't have fewer doubts than you. They just don't let those doubts paralyze them. Action creates momentum in ways you can't imagine until you experience it. That first scary step, it leads to the second, slightly easier one. Then the third. Then suddenly you look back and realize you've built something real. But here's the secret. The universe responds to movement. Opportunities don't find you when you're sitting still. They find you when you're out there creating, trying, failing, and trying again. Let me give you an example. Say you want to attract your dream job. You can meditate on it all day, but if you never send out resumes, never network, never build skills, what exactly are you expecting to happen? The law of attraction works with the law of action. You have to give the universe something to work with. Now, I'm not saying action has to be perfect. In fact, imperfect action beats perfect in action every single time. That business idea you've been sitting on for years, starting small today is infinitely better than waiting to launch the perfect version someday. That book you want to write, writing one messy page now gets you closer than dreaming about a bestseller. Here's something fascinating about taking action. It changes you. Every step forward, no matter how small, rewires your brain. You start seeing yourself as someone who gets things done. Opportunities you never noticed before suddenly become visible. People respond to you differently when they see you're serious. Action builds confidence in a way that thinking about action never can. But here's where most people get tripped up. They expect immediate results. They take a few steps, don't see fireworks, and give up. Real success is built on consistent action, showing up day after day, especially when you don't feel like it. The magic happens in the accumulation of small efforts over time. So here's your challenge today. Pick one thing you've been putting off and take action. Right now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, send that email, make that call, write that first paragraph. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The person you become by taking action is far more valuable than whatever result you're chasing. Fear is the price of entry. If your dreams don't scare you at least a little, they're not big enough. Let that sink in for a moment. The things worth having in life, real success, meaningful achievements, extraordinary experiences, they all live on the other side of fear. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway. Here's what nobody tells you about fear. It's not your enemy. It's your compass. That knot in your stomach when you think about taking a big leap, that's not a sign to turn back. It's confirmation you're heading in the right direction. The most successful people in the world feel fear just like you do. The difference? They've learned to interpret it differently. Let's break down what fear really is. It's your brain's way of protecting you from the unknown. Thousands of years ago, this kept us alive. Today, it mostly keeps us stuck. Your mind would rather you stay in a miserable but familiar situation than risk stepping into something new and potentially better. That's why fear shows up strongest right before a breakthrough. Think about the last time you felt truly afraid to do something. Maybe it was asking for a raise, or ending a bad relationship, or starting a new venture. Now ask yourself, was the fear about the actual thing, or about how you imagined it might go wrong? We fear rejection more than the actual asking. We fear failure more than the actual trying. We construct elaborate horror stories in our minds about things that haven't happened and may never happen. Here's the paradox. The things you fear most are often the exact experiences that will grow you the most. That presentation that makes your palms sweat, it'll build your confidence like nothing else. That difficult conversation you're avoiding, it could transform a relationship. That business idea you're scared to launch, it might change your life. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore all fear. There's healthy fear, like not walking into traffic. Then there's the fear that's keeping you from your potential. Learning to tell the difference is crucial. One keeps you alive, the other keeps you small. The law of attraction isn't about removing fear from your journey, it's about developing the strength to move through it. Every time you face fear and take action anyway, you're sending a powerful message to the universe. I'm serious about this. And the universe responds to that commitment in ways that will astonish you. Here's something fascinating. Fear and excitement are physiologically almost identical. The racing heart, the butterflies, the heightened awareness. Your body experiences them the same way. The only difference is the story you tell yourself about what those sensations mean. What if you started interpreting fear as excitement? As your body preparing for something important? That simple shift changes everything. The people you admire most, the ones living the life you want, aren't fearless. They've just developed a different relationship with fear. They've learned to lean into it, to recognize it as part of the process. They understand that on the other side of fear is everything they've ever wanted. So the next time fear shows up, and it will, instead of running, get curious. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could really happen? Then ask, what's the best that could happen? You'll often find the potential upside dwarfs the downside. And even if the worst happens, you'll survive, you'll learn, you'll grow, and that's never a loss. Remember this, fear isn't a wall blocking your path. It's the doorway to everything you want. The question isn't whether you'll feel fear, the question is, what are you going to do when it shows up? Because that answer determines everything. Persistence overrides talent. Let me tell you something that might change how you see success forever. The world is full of talented failures, people with incredible gifts who never amounted to anything. And you know why? Because talent alone is worthless without persistence. It's not the most gifted who win, it's those who refuse to stop. Think about this for a second. How many overnight successes do you know about? Now think again, because if you dig deeper, you'll find that every single one of those so-called overnight successes was actually years, sometimes decades in the making. The world only sees the breakthrough moment, not the thousands of hours of struggle that came before it. Here's the hard truth. Talent is overrated. It might get you in the door, but persistence is what keeps you in the building. Natural ability might help you start faster, but it's grit that determines how far you'll go. The most successful people you know aren't necessarily the smartest or most talented. They're simply the ones who didn't quit when everyone else did. Now let's talk about you. How many times have you started something excited, only to give up when it got hard? How many projects have you abandoned because results didn't come fast enough? Be honest, because here's what separates those who make it from those who don't. The willingness to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. Persistence isn't glamorous. It's not sexy. It's showing up day after day when no one's watching. It's doing the work when you don't feel like it. It's pushing through failure after failure, knowing that each one brings you closer to success. And here's the secret. Persistence compounds. Every day you stick with it, you're building invisible momentum that will eventually become visible results. But here's where most people go wrong. They expect linear progress. They think effort in should equal results out in a straight line. That's not how it works. Real success looks more like a stock market chart. Ups and downs, plateaus, sometimes even crashes. The key is to keep investing through all of it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you failed at something? And I mean really failed. Now ask yourself, did you stop there? Because that's where most people stop. They hit their first real obstacle and take it as a sign they're not cut out for whatever they're trying to do. But here's what successful people understand. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Every closed door teaches you something about finding the right one. Every mistake is tuition you're paying for your education in success. The people who make it aren't those who never fail. They're those who fail forward, learning and adjusting each time. Now here's something crucial to understand about persistence. It's not about blindly doing the same thing over and over. That's just stubbornness. Real persistence is about adapting while staying committed to the end goal. It's being willing to change your approach while never changing your destination. Think about water flowing down a mountain. When it hits a rock, it doesn't stop. It finds a way around. Over time, that persistent flow can carve through stone. That's the kind of persistence that creates real success. Not brute force, but consistent, adaptable movement toward your goal. So how do you develop this kind of persistence? Start small. Commit to something daily, even just 5 minutes. And don't break that commitment no matter what. Build your persistence muscle with small wins. Because here's the truth. If you can't keep small commitments to yourself, you'll never keep big ones. Remember this. Talent might determine how fast you start, but persistence determines how far you go. The race doesn't always go to the swiftest. It goes to those who keep running. So ask yourself right now, what's one thing you're willing to stick with no matter what? Because that's likely where your real success lies. Your beliefs shape your reality. What if I told you there's an invisible force determining everything you achieve in life? It's not luck. It's not circumstances. It's your beliefs. What you truly believe about yourself and your potential is creating your reality right now, whether you realize it or not. Here's something that might shock you. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. The success you have or don't have, the relationships you're in, the money you make, none of it is random. It's all perfectly aligned with what you believe is possible for yourself. If you're not where you want to be, look inward first. Let me ask you a tough question. Deep down, do you believe you deserve success? I'm not asking what you tell people. I'm asking what you really feel when no one's watching. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't genuinely believe you deserve something, you'll sabotage yourself from getting it every single time. Your subconscious mind is like a thermostat. It keeps you at whatever temperature you've set for yourself. If you secretly believe you're only worth $50,000 a year, guess what? You'll always find ways to stay around that number, no matter what opportunities come your way. Raise your inner thermostat, and your outer world has no choice but to follow. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Most of these limiting beliefs aren't even yours. They're hand-me-downs from parents, teachers, friends, society. They're stories you picked up along the way and never questioned. Money is hard to get. Successful people are lucky. I'm not smart enough. These aren't truths, they're just beliefs. And beliefs can be changed. Think about how this works in your daily life. When you believe something is possible for you, you take action differently. You carry yourself differently. You spot opportunities you'd otherwise miss. Your beliefs act like filters, determining what you see and don't see in the world around you. Here's a simple example. Have you ever learned a new word, then suddenly started hearing it everywhere? The word was always there. Your brain just wasn't tuned to notice it. The same thing happens with opportunities. When you believe something is possible, you start seeing chances everywhere. When you don't, you walk right past them. So how do you change limiting beliefs? First, become aware of them. Listen to your self-talk. What do you say about money, about success, about yourself? Those quiet thoughts running in the background are shaping your reality more than you know. Next, challenge them. Ask yourself, Is this really true? Where did this belief come from? What evidence do I have that it's not true? Most limiting beliefs crumble under simple questioning because they were never based on facts to begin with. Then replace them. Consciously choose new beliefs that serve you better. Write them down. Repeat them daily. At first, they'll feel fake. That's normal. Keep going. Over time, your subconscious will accept them as truth, and your outer world will shift to match. Here's the most powerful part. When your beliefs change, your actions change automatically. You don't have to force yourself to behave differently. You'll naturally start making different choices because they align with your new beliefs. That's why working on your beliefs is the highest leverage activity for changing your life. So right now, ask yourself, what beliefs are holding me back? What would I need to believe to achieve what I truly want? Start there, because until you change your inner world, no amount of outer effort will create lasting change. Your beliefs aren't just part of your success, they're the foundation of it. Gratitude accelerates results. There exists a silent power, often overlooked, yet immeasurably potent, in the life of any man or woman who seeks to draw forth greater success, prosperity, and abundance. That power is gratitude. It is not loud, it does not beat its chest, nor trumpet its presence. It is not always visible to the world around you, but it moves mountains within. Gratitude is the signal you send to the universe, the vibration of acknowledgement that says, I see what I have, I honor what has come to me, I welcome more. Most people do not realize that they are actively repelling the very blessings they crave, simply by the posture of their mind. They dwell upon what is missing. They obsess over what they lack. They repeat to themselves like a grim mantra, the things that have not yet shown up, the dreams that are still on the horizon, the money that has not entered their bank, the relationships they have not yet enjoyed. This constant fixation on what is absent plants the seed of lack, and from that seed nothing but more lack can grow. The mind is a magnificent magnet. It pulls to itself the exact counterpart of what it holds as dominant. And when the mind is preoccupied with scarcity, with worry, with thoughts of not enough, it will draw experiences that match precisely that state. This is not a matter of superstition, it is a matter of law. Just as surely as water flows downhill and fire consumes the dry wood placed upon it, the mind that holds an image of lack invites more of it into the experience of the individual. But let the same mind turn its focus, even slightly, toward appreciation. Let it pause for but a moment to see what is good, what is stable, what is present, what has gone right, and it begins to change its vibration entirely. This is not fantasy, this is principle. The man who walks through a modest home and sees a roof over his head and gives thanks for it has stepped into a current of attraction that shall soon bring more. The woman who stands at a humble table and gives thanks for bread and water is building a bridge to plenty. They are not merely hoping, they are declaring to the unseen forces of life that they are trustworthy stewards of the blessings already given. To give thanks is to affirm that what you have is good and sufficient. It does not mean you must be content to remain where you are forever. No, ambition is not at odds with gratitude. In truth, they are brothers. Gratitude says, I am thankful for this. Ambition says, and I welcome more. The man who can hold both sentiments in his heart at once is a man destined for increase. For the universe will not expand the life of one who curses his current station. It cannot deliver more to the hand that slaps away the little it has been given. This principle has worked since the beginning of time. The ancient farmer who praised the rain and the sun, even in seasons of small harvest, was often the one rewarded with greater bounty next year. The merchant who spoke well of his modest shop and honored his customers, even when they were few, was often the one whose business grew beyond expectation. The laborer who gave thanks for his job, no matter how lowly, and performed his duties with a willing spirit, was often the one lifted to greater roles. This is not mere coincidence. This is cause and effect. The key is not to wait until everything is perfect to feel grateful. That is the error of the masses. They say, when I am rich, then I will be grateful. Or, when I have the house, or the position, or the recognition, then I shall give thanks. But that is backward. That is like saying to the fire, give me warmth, and then I will give you wood. No, you must feed the fire first. You must stoke it with the fuel of sincere appreciation. You must notice even the smallest flicker of success and celebrate it as the forerunner of greater flame. Start where you are. Begin now. Take inventory of your blessings, and you will find they are more numerous than you thought. You have breath in your lungs. That is a gift. You have strength enough to pursue your goals. That is a blessing. You have learned. You have overcome. You have endured trials and gained wisdom. These are riches, not counted in coin. And if you are reading this, it means you still have time. You are not done yet. The path still stretches before you. That is opportunity. Every morning, rise and declare what you are thankful for. Do not skip this step. Do not think it trivial. Gratitude is not weak. It is the language of strength. It is the password to plenty. When spoken earnestly, it adjusts your entire being to the frequency of abundance. And just like a radio dial tuned to the right station, you begin to pick up the signals of opportunity, the whispers of insight, the nudges of intuition, and the doors that begin to swing open of their own accord. Your thoughts are prayers, your emotions are magnets, and your gratitude is the proof that you believe life is for you, not against you. Those who believe in a hostile universe cannot receive its gifts, but those who trust that goodness is ever seeking them will find that it is true. As you train your heart to be thankful, even when the evidence is small, you prove yourself ready for greater gifts. You declare, I see, I notice, I honor what has been given. And life, like any generous giver, smiles and says, then here, have more. So let others complain, let others envy and whine, let others dwell in discontent, but not you. You are of a different order. You are building something magnificent with your thoughts, your words, your spirit. And gratitude is the mortar between the stones. It holds the structure together. It prepares the ground for what is yet to come. Do not despise small beginnings. Rejoice in them, for he who is faithful with little shall be made ruler over much. And so from this moment forward, carry this secret power with you. Use it daily. Practice it sincerely. Gratitude is not a luxury. It is a necessity for every man and woman who seeks to prosper. Let it be your habit, your default, your constant companion. For as you give thanks, you open the gates to greater good. And as that good flows to you, remember again to give thanks, and the cycle will continue, ever upward. Success isn't a one-time event. It's a cycle. Set a goal, achieve it, then set a bigger one. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. Keep evolving, and the law of attraction will keep working for you. The law of attraction isn't a trick. It's a system. Think big, act consistently, and refuse to quit. That's how you turn dreams into reality.